Hi guys, so I wanted to make a quick video on AR-15 and what to do if your rifle is overgassed and kind of how to identify if your rifle is overgassed. So the brass casing ejects out of the side, and if it's ejecting from like the 1 to the 230 position, it's typically a little on the overgassed. Definitely if it's between 1 and 2 o'clock, and I'll roll in a diagram that people use to tell if their AR-15s are overgassed. I also can just tell from shooting. I've shot so many AR-15s that when something is overgassed or there's something's up with the timing, I can just tell. And when I was shooting this rifle, it definitely seemed on the overgas side, and the empty shells were ejecting to the like 130. I mean, it was pretty insane for a higher end AR-15. So I decided that I was going to attempt to fix it. So there's a couple ways you can fix your overgassed AR-15, and one is changing the barrel. You can mess with the gas block. You can put an adjustable gas block on. You can get a gas tube that is a little bit of a smaller on the inside that lets less gas in. The best way to fix it is just to change your barrel. But if you have a new gun, or if you don't have the tools to do that, then that's probably not a good idea, or it's not an option for you, especially if it's a new gun. You don't want to replace the barrel right away. So the easiest way to do that is to mess with your buffer system. Now, I've heard some people calling this tuning your AR-15. I suppose you can call it, tuning if you want to, but basically all you're doing is just slowing the bolt carrier group down so it's not violently reciprocating inside of your action. So all this entails of is right here is your buffer system, and this involves a buffer spring, which is this here, and this silver piece here is your buffer. Now, if you have a budget gun or just some of the buffers are black like this one. So when I got this rifle, it had a carbine weight buffer. So these buffers here, they all weigh different, and as you can see, this one here is marked with an H. Some are marked with an H2, some are marked with an H3, and some have no markings on them. And if they have no markings on them, then you can weigh them with a scale. And usually the ones that are not marked are just carbine weight buffers. I do not like carbine weight buffers at all in none of my guns. Usually whenever they're overgassed though, and they're ejecting to the 1 to 230 or 1 to 2 o'clock position, you need more than an H buffer. So I have a Colt. I have a couple of different AR-15s. I took the H2 buffer out of that. I put it in here, and I immediately ran it up at the range, and I knew that I was going to need something a little more than just an H2 buffer. And that's where this company comes in to play, Springco. So as you can see, this is the hot white spring, and that is this one here. It's red and white as well. This is actually a little bit longer than your standard carbine length springs. You can see it's a pretty couple coils longer. So if we're talking about Springco springs here, they color code their springs. That's why these look like it. Your spring is probably not color coded. So Springco, their white springs are their regular GI springs. So like whatever you have in your gun now that's not color coded is probably the same as this white here. It's just a regular carbine length spring. This one here is somewhat of a new spring for them, this white hot spring. As you can see, it's like the next step up. And then they also have what's called a blue spring, which is this one here. It's their enhanced power spring. So when I wanted to order a new H2 buffer for this, I also ordered the white hot spring because I wanted something a little more powerful, because I knew the H2 wasn't going to be enough. So I put both of the H2 and this spring in the gun, and it really didn't change it much. Changed it a little bit, but not much. So I went ahead and I ordered, I kept the H2, which is still in here, and I ordered, like I said, the blue power spring from Springco, which is the enhanced power spring. And I got this thing finally ejecting to the 230, 3 o'clock position, depending on what ammunition I'm using. Now, there is one step up above that, which is a red. It just doesn't have the white paint. It's just all red. And that is, I forget what they call that. Their extra power spring, I believe is what it's called. And you can use that. So whenever you're tuning, I guess you can call it, your AR-15, trying to get it to be not have as much gas in the system, not be as violently recoiling, you need to watch, because if you go too high, so like if I would have replaced this with a red spring in it, put the red spring in, because like I said, I have the blue spring in here now. So if I upgraded to the red spring and is ejecting to the 430 position, which according to the diagram is perfect ejection, the problem there is when you shoot underpowered ammunition, steel cased ammunition, anything like that, or the temperature even, you could start to run into reliability issues. You could start getting short stroking problems. So while that diagram is good to follow, and yeah, 430 is perfect gassing, perfect ejecting, also there's the thing called combat gassing, and that's not a bad thing either. So with the blue spring in here, this is now ejecting, like I said, to the 2:30, 3 o'clock position, and that's where I'm keeping it. It feels really smooth when I shoot this gun. And that is the thing also, not just your ejection, you want to feel how smooth the gun feels. As long as it doesn't feel like it's beating itself to death, because what'll happen here is this cam pin inside here will start to get a lot of wear on it, and you'll start to get a lot of wear on your lugs because the bolt is just going too fast. So the other thing that I did was I replaced the bolt carrier group in this. So this came with a semi-automatic AR-15 bolt carrier group. There's actually a cut here, and this is about an ounce lighter, half an ounce lighter than a full auto bolt carrier group. So I just changed that out, just added a little bit of more weight to the system. You can see the full auto bolt carrier group there. Just adds a little more weight to the system, and it was designed to run with the full auto. So this gun is semi-automatic, if you do not know. But anyway, so if you are having your gun feels like it's just recoiling too much, you're getting 130 ejection, 130 ejection. If it's at 230, I would just let it go. But if you're at 130 unsuppressed, then I would highly suggest working on getting that down. Not because of the ejection pattern, but because of the premature wear you're going to put on everything. So AR-15s they need to be timed. They need to be in function, because AR-15s do have a lot of wear parts on them, and if it's not in time, then you're going to get a lot more wear a lot faster. So check out Springco, and like I said, there is other ways to fix that. This is the easiest and simplest way. Also, this little pin here, if you have a carbine weight buffer, you can knock that pin out and pull this buffer here, comes out, the silicone part, and you can actually pull you can hear it, you can pull the individual weights out, and you can add heavier weights, so you don't even have to buy a whole new buffer. You can just add weights and take weights out as you need. I don't typically do that. In fact, I've never done that. I just buy the whatever buffer I feel I need. And like I said, if your gun if you have a carbine weight buffer and you have a ejecting to the 130, don't even mess around with a heavy buffer. Just go straight to an H2. And then you can eventually look at an H3, but like I said, you got to factor in weather conditions, cold, hot, and ammunition, and even elevation sometimes will play a factor into that. So don't overdo it. Get a little bit of that combat gassing will be good. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know.